Firstly, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Parents and my brothers and sisters who have come here, we've come with one concern. Our concern here in this session is how to bring our children up Islamically. Okay? Now, before we even go into anything, the first and foremost thing is I'm going to say a number of points, and I'm going to take my notes down. Please take your notes down as well. And as I go through this, you just start to reflect on what is that you've got in your life and how you can sort of better your own tarbiyah in your own house. Okay. The number one thing is, before you can, tarbiyah. The word tarbiyah means to nurture. Okay, to mold, to nurture. So the first thing is, before I can nurture my children, I need to be nurtured myself. Okay. So this is the most important thing. I can't really make them people who are going to be very much inclined towards Islam if I'm not that inclined. So normally what you see is, as far as like, if this is the sort of start line, okay, this is the start line, and if this is the end line, if you're the guide, I'm the parent. So as far as you're going to go, okay, your child is usually going to be behind you. Okay, they're usually going to be behind you. So as far as you go in the religion, that's how far they can only go. Okay? Yes, later on when they grow up, maybe, inshallah, they get a blessing that you didn't have and they start to become more religious than you. That's fine, and inshallah that does happen. And we hope that our children become better than us. But normally what happens is, your children will always be behind you. So that means that if in the 5 daily prayers, okay, the 5 daily prayers, if I'm lacking, then guaranteed your children will lack. Right? If in the hijab I'm lacking, then your daughters will lack. If in anything, let's say tilawah of the Quran, reciting the Quran, if I'm lacking, the children will lack. So what we want to achieve here is, first is your own tarbiyah. How far you're going to go in the religion, that's how far your children are going to go. So normally what parents have is they have this perception that my children, inshallah, they're going to become, and I'm not saying, look, your children won't go ahead of you. I'm not saying that. Inshallah, your children will go ahead of you. I'm talking about the early stages, that your children can only go as much as you go. Unless you put them into an environment or something that they then, if they have, let's say, for example, someone in their life, let's say, for example, they find a teacher, okay? And this teacher is someone that is really, ahead, okay? That teacher, if they have a close connection with the teacher, let's say, for example, they went to a madrasa or they were in the masjid or somewhere else, and they had a regular contact with them, then of course your children will be right behind them as well, and they'll go as far as they can, but they'll be far ahead than what you are. Okay, so your tarbiyah, let's just start with the basics first. Am I a parent who's got the fajr on time? These are basics. Let's not go towards the hifz of the children and something else before even looking at my basics. Have I got my Isha on time? Have I got my Fajr on time? Have I got my other Salahs on time? To get Fajr on time, you need to sleep early. That's the clue. That's the way to do it. Children normally in your household should be going to sleep. Normally they'll say about 8 o'clock or something, 7 o'clock, depending on what their age is, okay? If they're slightly older, they might be able to, drag it on till about 9 o'clock, but more or less they'll be sleeping at that time. Now, those very children will be able to get up very early in the morning. And the problem that we have is, if you're sleeping at 11, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, then you're going to have more and more problems in getting up for Fajr. If you get up late for Fajr, then most likely your children are not going to be praying Fajr on time, right? On time, at least they won't be praying Fajr. If you have got the Fajr on time, then hopefully you can then start to get all your children on time. Now, alhamdulillah, there are some houses where the children start getting up and the parents are asleep, right? It happens, alhamdulillah. But how long is that going to carry on? Tell me, in an ideal world, how long will it carry on for a 13-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever, 11-year-old to get up for Fajr, even if they're younger, and they're trying to get you up, but then they're seeing the whole house is asleep. It will have an effect on them, and they'll be on and off. But why should I not be up for Fajr? So the barakah of this ummah, okay, the barakah of this ummah is something which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said is in the mornings. Okay, so let's try and get our nights early finished and get the barakah of the morning. Now, a very big thing to think about is in my house, when does technology get switched on and when is it off? These are major, I think, reasons of why you might not go to sleep early. Okay, so with your children, straight up, your children don't need to touch any technology unless it's for homework from Monday to Friday. They don't need to do it. If you've got every day something like it's PS4, Xbox, or some other games, or even the pads, or even your phones, I'm going to tell you straight up, that should never be the case. In fact, I'm going to say to you, when your children, no matter what age they are, they don't need to have your phone as an entertainment. Complete ban on this. And they'll get used to it. See, there was a point when I was bringing my kids up that, you know, when the kids get a little bit naughty, whatever, and they're unsettled, you just give your phone, right? And you have a few games downloaded and then you just give your phone. And mashallah, alhamdulillah, it does the magic, right? Like they're straight away, they say, oh, you know, but you don't know what's going on at that time. What's happening at that time is their brain has gone into, you know, a super mode, all right? It's got so many chemicals being released in their heads that they're getting high levels of activities going on in their brains, and that's why they don't want to engage with the rest of the world at that time, because they are fully entertained in what they're engaging in. Now, the problem is not while they're on the phone. The problem is when they're off the phone. Okay, you take them off the phone, then it starts. It's like this world is dull. It's not exciting. The people in this world are dull. My parents are dull. Yeah, my siblings, what do I do with them to make them more exciting? Let me fight with them. Maybe that might make things more exciting. You know, let me pick on someone. Because if you really think about it, the amount of energy that's going on in those few games they're playing, the brain is moving at a super speed. And when it comes off, it's like it's slowed down, and they're still waiting for those serotonins and the other chemicals to be released, and they're not released. So, yes, we want to give entertainment to our children, but it's going to be limited. And I want all parents to understand that you don't have to get your children at all to touch any of this unless it's for homework. Now, I've done this for several years, and it's worked fine. Once the children understand we cannot touch anything electronic unless it's for homework only, Monday to Friday, they will all accept it. It will be the normal thing. Now, as parents, Monday to Friday, we've got a duty as well. For me to sit there with my phone, okay, while my kids are around me, and then I'm doing this, I'm coming, yeah, I'm gonna give you, yeah, I'm getting it warmed up, yeah, after food. And they say, when are you gonna do? When are you gonna like warm my food over? When are you gonna give me this? When are you gonna give me that? And so on. Or so, you know, someone has hit me, whatever. And I'm zoning out. Like, you guys, you go there, you go over there. I'm still on my phone. See, what this does is it sends a wrong message to them. They kind of will then see that this parent is heavily focused on his phone, her phone, but it's at the expense of the children. Because if you've got them off the technologies, they then need your time, they need my time. And that's where tarbiyah happens, that's where molding happens, okay? So let's get those elements right. On the weekend, all of you are bringing your children to Safar Academy. Is good, mashallah. In the morning they come in and the first thing they're learning all this Islam stuff and they go home. You should have a timetable at home where you have limited time on the weekends of how much you give them in terms of the technology. You do not have to give them from the moment they get to your house, okay, till the moment they go to sleep on a Saturday or a Sunday. You do not have to give them the technologies. You limit it. So you could say to yourself in a household, I'm only going to give you 3 hours in the full day. Or 2 hours. Or no hours. 0 hours. It's up to you. In fact, if you have a habit, so you need to break the habits. If you have a habit every Saturday, every Sunday, they're getting X amount of hours, all right? Of course, they're going to look forward to it. They're going to be really good and so on, right? But if you then give it to them and it's like, you know, this becomes the best time of the week and it's never broken, you don't break their pattern, then they're going to give you trouble when you have to go visit your relatives, or you have to go to a wedding, or you have to go holiday somewhere. And, you know, this is normal. And my kids have done that with us. And you know what we said? We said, okay, fine. you know what? We'll just go. And they'll get moany, they'll not be in their right mood because the house they're going to, the first question is, do they have a PS4? Right? Do they have games? What age kids are? Now, the thing is, what you need to understand is when your children are growing up, they have to go through all of this and be bored and accept that boredom is part of life. Okay? Boredom is part of life. What do you do when you're bored? Well, you've got your own head. And you've got the thoughts in your mind, and you just find something at that moment. As long as you've got sabr. See, sabr is one of the biggest lessons, I would say, okay, that children need to have, and a lot of it, okay, is going to be this word sabr. Okay, we need this from the cradle to the grave. You need it from the cradle to the grave, and you need large amounts of it at certain times of your life. Right? How and when are we teaching children sabr? If you're always going to be there entertaining them, always keeping them busy, and they never get bored of anything, when are you teaching them sabr? If life becomes perfect for them all the time, when will they learn what patience is? When will they learn how to deal with this? Right? So, problems happen, and your children, look, I'm going to do quick stats here, okay? If your siblings, when you were young, if you never fought with them, if you never had a fight with them, then put your hands up. Never had a single. Okay, that's so you're mashallah. I think you're the one in maybe 10,000 families or something, right? Nobody else put their hands up. Okay, now let's talk about our children. You've all got children, right? If your children never fought with one another, put your hands up. Right, there's something there. How come your children are fighting? We're blaming on your husband, right? On his side. The thing is, children are going to do this. The problem is not that they fight with one another. It's actually, in some ways, a natural thing for them to do. If you study the animal world, you'll see that the chicks will hatch and whatnot, or the litter will start growing, and first they play fight, and afterwards when they're growing, they will have real fights. And why that is, I think there's a system that Allah has created that everyone is fighting for their independency, and everyone's fighting for their own attention. The reason why there are many reasons why there could be having a little fight with one another, but I think one of the basic things is that as a human being, you're trying to show your strength. You're trying to show that you've also got certain things. And when somebody disagrees with you, it can start causing some kind of conflict. Now, it's about how you manage it. Okay, that's the main thing. Don't be upset that my kids had a little bit of a fight here, my kids fell out with one another, my kids did this. No. All the things that we went through, our kids are most likely going to go through, but it's how we manage it. Okay, so I'm gonna do quick stats here. Anybody never got burnt by fire? Put your hands up. Thank you. Nobody with hands up. Anybody here never, what can I say? So five's one. Never touched boiling water and got burnt slightly? Anyone put your hand up? So we're all done, yeah? Those parts of life, when you touch something really hot or dangerous, when you were told already not to do it several times, and then you still do it, right? The day when you do it, then it's toba, right? You don't do it again, right? Certain things in life you have to learn, unfortunately, through the ways that we'd rather not learn. Okay? And we've all been burnt, and that's how you learn. So what this teaches us is, sometimes when these things happen, sometimes when something major happens, it really teaches you something in life. But even with the little things that you have, the little quabbles that your children are getting into, it's about how we manage it. Now there are simple things of what to do, okay? We have to instill the Quranic tarbiyah in our children. Number one, I said sabr. Sabr, you'll find it all over the Quran. Another big one that you will find that Allah Azza wa Jal talks about is taqwa. Okay? I'm just going to put the word taqwa here. Taqwa is something where, taqwa, those of you who don't know taqwa is your own inner defense mechanism against sins. So it means that the next time a sinful opportunity comes, I've got so much thought of Allah, awareness of Allah, that I will not want to sin. Okay? Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Holy Quran, He said, I have given you clothes. Ya Bani Adam, O children of Adam, قَدْ أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمْ لِبَاسًا, I gave you clothes. But then Allah said, وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ. The best clothing you can have is the clothing of taqwa. Right? And let me give you an example to understand this. So there was a king, and he wanted to have a life of when he, where he never gets his feet dirty. So he said to his advisor, he said, I want you, wherever I'm going to walk, I want you to put carpet there. So his advisor said, fine. So he put carpet, in the hallways, carpet in the bedroom, carpet in the little walk around that he used to do around the courtyard, carpet wherever he would go. Any new place he's going, he's putting carpet. So carpet has to be put there before he treads on it. So one day the advisor got really tired. You can imagine how much work that is trying to put carpet everywhere. One day the advisor said, King, I've got a bit of advice for you. Better than me just putting carpet everywhere, why don't you just wear a pair of shoes? Okay? If you wear a pair of shoes, then it doesn't matter where you go, your feet won't get dirty. Now that's what taqwa is. Instead of you thinking, now this is what most parents are thinking, oh my God, my kids, oh my God, primary school, what's going to happen? Oh my God, my kids could, lose their iman here, lose their this there, lose their own secondary school. Oh my God, friends this. Oh my God, social media this. Oh my God, how they're going to grow into a world where people are, there's fitna out there, there's things that eyes not supposed to see. Oh my God, the music. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. You're trying to place carpet everywhere for your child. And the simple thing is, at Safar Academy, we're doing our best in our 7 hours, but the rest is with you with your 70 hours that you got home. Right? You've got a bigger duty than us. To carry the 7 hours and turn it into something which is going to be meaningful is, can you, I have to do this with my children as well, can you instill taqwa in your own children? The awareness of Allah in everything. The awareness of Allah. So for example, if my children have just had a bit of a bickering, are you going to say, you shouldn't do this because we're from a Chaudhry family? Are you going to say this, that we shouldn't do this because mom and dad never used to do that? What's the point of reference that you're making? Are you going to say that what you just did there, you're going to have to, apologize because as a human you did it wrong? Humans don't do this to each other. What are you bringing here to the table? If you turn it into, you're not supposed to have done this because Allah was watching. And Allah is watching all of us. And we're going to go on the Day of Judgment. And we're going to have hisab. You can get away with it in this world, but you'll never get away with it in that world. If your child has not done salah, and I'm going to get to this salah and so on a bit later on, but if your child hasn't done salah, what is the point of reference that you're making? Is it what most parents did to us, the damage? Okay, they did real damage, yeah? I call it damage. If you don't pray, you're going to go to hellfire. Oh, okay. So what you want to do is you just want to pray something quickly, tick box, get it out of the way. It's like, what kind of, I'll be honest with you, what kind of God would that be that you'd have to just do something just to not upset him? And just not to go to hellfire. That's a very negative way of presenting God. Yes, it is true that if you don't pray, you're going to go to hellfire. That's one truth. But why use that? Why not use things like, if you pray, this is your akhirah. This is what will be with you in the grave. Mom and dad are not going to be with you in the grave. And there's nothing wrong with talking about the grave, especially when they get to a certain age. There's nothing wrong. It's like a reality. Look, you're not going to miss mom and dad. Don't worry, because mom and dad, once mom and dad go to the next world, then we're going to be with our parents of before. And there's a whole family of that. As long as I've been good, I'll be in Illiyin. And Illiyin are where all the good souls are. So I will reunite with all the family members that have gone before. And when you pass away, as long as you prayed and you've done something good, as soon as you pass away, you're with us. Right? You give that image, you're with us. You're not alone in the grave. There's no such thing that you should say, oh my God, you're alone in the grave for thousands of years, just looking at brown soil. You haven't even got a bachelor. What are you going to do for thousands of years? No, there's no such thing. Okay? Within minutes, the soul is taken either to Illiyin or Sijjin. Right? So you give that perception. And on the Day of Judgment, if you want to be with us, the muttaqeen, the people of taqwa, are together. People who don't have taqwa separate. And they want to sort of, run away from each other, okay? So, what's the perception I'm giving to my children when they miss salah, when they misbehave, when they lie, when they do something wrong? Am I gonna, look, guys, I don't know who's got what in your house, okay? But there should be no such thing as hitting. You don't need to hit. No one here needs to hit. If your house has got a way of, getting your children disciplined that you hit, it's only because you made that your life in the house. Okay, that became your life in the house. You made that environment that unless you hit, you're not going to stop. Now let me give it another example. If your children, look, there's a lot of subtle things I can say here, and I know this could, and I'm conscious of time as well. If your children get into a habit that mom and dad are going to shout, and unless they start shouting, we don't have to listen to them, then that's exactly what's going to happen. So if you say, for example, your child is Ahmed, let's say, for example, as a common thing, no reference to anyone's children here, okay? I'm looking at a parent over there, I think her child is Ahmed, it just came to my head, okay? Now let's say, for example, Ahmed, you say, Ahmed, go and pray. Time for prayer. So Ahmed says, yeah, I'll do it. So he's put you on snooze. He's put you on snooze, right? So you say after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, say, Ahmed, I told you to pray. He says, yeah, I'm going, mom. Put you on snooze again. He says, Ahmed, after 5-10 more minutes, Ahmed, I told you to go to pray. Now you can see your voice is going on. Ahmed, I told you to pray. Yeah, mom, I'm going to just finish it up. Just finish the game off. Just finishing off. Right? So again, put you on snooze the third time. Now it's getting late for let's say Dhuhr or whatever it is, and after another half an hour you say, Ahmed, okay, I'm going, and they put the joystick down, or whatever, and then they go to pray. You know why? Because you made it your environment that unless you shout, he doesn't have to move, because you never make him move when you tell him first time. You have to make your house, when I've told you something, it's khalas. Finish, habibi. It's what you're going to do right now. There's no ifs, there's no buts, there's no, I'm going to do later, there's no postponing, there's nothing. Unless they're really in the middle of something just to finish off, which is seconds or a couple of minutes, there should be no snoozing of parents. Because once, they say you snooze, you lose, right? Okay? But I'm going to reverse that. They snooze and you lose, and they lose as well, right? There should be no snoozing. If you've said to them, do this, it should be automatic. Let's say, for example, you're downstairs, they're upstairs. You say, Ahmed, straight away, your household should be such that they come straight, they drop everything and they come to you. Make your house like that. Why not? Why not? Because the thing is, if you can get this right, inshallah, a lot of things will go right. Okay? If, let's say, for example, someone has done something wrong. Let's say you told Ahmed to do something and Ahmed never did it. You don't need to hit. See, if you start hitting, then they start to get a double life. Guaranteed, anyone who's been hit, struck, whatever, they'll have a double life. They'll do things to please you, but they'll do other things to hide things. If you make it that if I ever catch you doing this, then you don't know what's going to happen to you. Then they'll be like, okay, I'll make sure you never catch me doing it. It's simple. It's a simple equation. What we need transparency. We need them to be open. We need them to talk to us. And they're going to make mistakes, yes. But we want them to make their mistakes. That's how tarbiyah is done. If you make a household where no mistakes are ever made in front of me, they'll make the mistakes elsewhere. Like if you're going to become like some kind of a tyrant or something in your house where, you show me one mistake, it's going to be parahash, it's going to be, whatever it is, they'll stay away from you. They won't even come in front of you. They won't even speak in front of you. If your nature is such that sometimes mothers are tough, sometimes fathers are tough, right? Sometimes both are tough, whatever the case is. If you make your nature that the moment you've done something wrong, I'm going to come like a ton of bricks down on you, then they're going to make sure that they'll never come in front of you and do anything. Now there's the opposite as well. And I think with this generation, the generation of parents you are, the opposite is more true. We're not getting people hitting and smacking more nowadays. We used to have that about 20, 30 years ago. Nowadays it's like, Ahmed, you're going to fall? Tell me before you fall? I'll put a cushion there. Ahmed, you want an ice cream? Would you like strawberry on top or raspberry? And should I give it to you like melted at, this much degrees or what? How would you like it? And if it's not whipped properly, Ahmed, if you complain, Daddy gonna buy you another one. What is wrong with you? Seriously, there's two extremes here. If you are too strict with the kids, or if you're too lenient with the kids, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have problems. You're gonna have probably more problems when you're lenient with them than when you're balanced. I want balance, okay? I want balance. And what most people are doing wrong, most parents are doing wrong, is they're not getting the balance right. So leniency is a massive problem of your children going astray or not listening to you. Because you're too soft, you're too kind, you're too good. You give anyone too much love, you're going to suffer. You give anyone too much love, you'll suffer. You give anyone too much of, even hate, even your enemies, you hate them too much, you will suffer. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a beautiful statement, and he told us about the balance. He said, "Ahbib habibaka yawman ma." He said, these are to do with friends, okay? He said, love your beloved in a moderate manner, lest one day your beloved becomes the one you hate. Love your beloved in a balanced manner, lest one day your beloved becomes someone you've got issues with. It happens, right? Someone you were really close to. If you're too close to them and suddenly you break up, oh my God, he knows all my secrets. She knows all my secrets. Oh my God, what's going to happen after that? And then the opposite is true as well. He said, Abghid baghida, the one you hate them moderately, lest one day the one you hate becomes your beloved. So there's a balance that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is calling for. Okay, somebody with a car, Honda RX13X, P for Peter, B for Bravo, is blocking. So if that's your car, Honda, please remove your car right now. Okay, so there's a balance that can you repeat it?
It's RX13XPB.
RX13. Okay, so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking about a balance that we're supposed to get. Now, in the household, the same balance is required. I want to ask you parents, look, with the taqwa level, instill in them in every single stage of their upbringing taqwa, an awareness of Allah, awareness of consequences, awareness of the akhirah, awareness of who I am, what I'm doing. So let's say, for example, your child is going to come with tough questions. Let them come with tough questions, right? I've even allowed my children to ask, whatever question it is. Sometimes they make big mistakes, but if at the moment they make a big mistake, you're there and you're there to mold it properly, then everything is right. So how does tarbiyah work? Tarbiyah works like, let's say for example, you are working with something that's going to change. It's never going to be settled in one moment. So usually what they say is, tarbiyah is like taming a wild horse. Okay? Tarbiyah is taming a wild horse. So what this means is, if you went to the wild and you got a horse, that horse will never want you to ride it. For you to get the horse to be something that you're going to be able to ride easily, you need to take that horse and you need to grab a hold of it, then you need to sort of pull it down, you need to feed it, you need to get some kind of a relationship between you and the horse. You're going to tie it, the horse is going to be wild, trying to get out of what you're trying to give. Sorry, I'm going to ask the parent if you can just settle the child or just walk it down the aisle over there. We've got some recordings as well going on for people who listen to this talk. Yeah. So tarbiyah is that you wanna get the horse, you wanna then give it food, you want it to recognize you, you want it to start saying, okay, this is my master, or this is someone who likes me. Then eventually, slowly, you will be able to put a saddle on its back and eventually you'll be able to get, the first time you get on it, the horse is going to be wild. It's going to try and kick you off his back, right? All people who've taken a wild horse know this is the case. Now, in your case, it's a little bit easier because you've got a pony. Guys, understand? You've got little ponies in your house. Now, it depends when you start the tarbiyah. This is the most crucial thing. If the pony is small, and throughout the ages of the pony as it's growing, I'm making sure that the pony doesn't do anything that I don't want. So the pony, if the pony goes, wildly, running out there, I'm gonna, bring it back, and I'll talk to it in a way, or I'll treat it in a certain way. Pony knows never to go that way again, right? If at the very small age I do that, as soon as the pony is able to take my weight, then I get onto the pony just a little bit, just to get used to it. Then there's no problem. That pony, while it grows to a proper horse, will always want me to be on its back. Alright? So then you have no problem. But if I start the tarbiyah of the pony at a later stage, let's say for example the pony was mine, and I let it be wild for as long as it wants, and one day I decide, when it's grown up, to get up on its back, then it's going to be really difficult. So the thing with the children that we've got is, the earlier you start your tarbiyah, the earlier you get things in, the quicker you make it, the connection. Like, I've called you to come downstairs, you come straight away. The quicker you make these connections, the better for all of you. The later you leave it, the more problems you're going to have. Don't expect your child to start praying all of a sudden at the age of 14, 15. Too late. Salah, slowly, okay? Now, in your Safar Academy books, we've got a lot of stuff that we put in the beginning. Please read that, follow that, implement the tarbiyah as well. Now, for Salah, it's a simple thing, okay? With all my 3 kids, I said to them, your biggest birthday for your 7th, your special birthday, biggest birthday present that you're going to have for the 7th birthday is that from now on, you're going to definitely pray 1 Salah properly with Dad every day. 1 Salah, that's it, at the age of 7. Now, before 7, if they want to do sujood here, ruku here, half a rakat here, and then walk off or whatever, that's fine. But from 7, it's like you're going to do that as 1 salah per day. And then when they get to 8, move to 2 salahs a day. When they get to near the end of 8, make it 3. When they get to 9, 4. When they hit 10, all 5. Okay? And it's like you have to do it now. Now, when you take them slowly through like this, and you're going to do it, you're going to do it in a way that in your house, everything should stop. If you do it with jama'ah, it's really good, right? So all of them come together, they pray together. There's a set time. The whole house stops. So there's no, like if the whole house stops, there's no excuse not to pray. So let me give you an example. When you go to Makkah and Medina, all the stalls are closed during Salah. Yes or no? Right, so everyone's coming out praying. Even the guys who don't want to pray, like, what else are we going to do? Rather than pray. Okay? You come to this place here, all the shops are open while the Salah is going on. Even Jummah is going on, the shops are open. So then you get people still busy out there. If your household is functioning busy while you're telling them to quickly pray, one prays here, one prays there, one prays there, then it's going to be difficult to get them to do their salah like that. I'm asking you to make sure that it's slowly done. Don't all of a sudden implement. Don't go over, the top of, I want to get this, I want to get that, and oh my God, you got to get this tilawah, you got to get that. If you put too much food in anyone's mouth in one go, they will want to choke or they'll want to vomit it out. Religion needs to be something that we slowly put inside. And it's all subtle things that you do. So, the things about, let's say, your children have started to bicker or something's happened, something's wrong. What do? You drop it a little. You don't sit there and give them a massive 1-hour lecture on how they're going to be punished in hellfire and sizzled and barbecued and the rest of it. You don't do that. You just give a little dose. And then next time they do something wrong, another little dose. Next time they do something wrong, another little dose. Okay? Like that horse there, when you're trying to get the horse, the wild horse to ride it, what you do is you do a little bit. So you feed it a little bit. Then you try and get on his back. It's not allowing you. Then you try and get back on his back again, and this time it's a bit rough. And then 3rd time, 4th time, 5th time, it's a bit more settled, it's a bit more settled. Doses of tarbiyah are needed. That's how tarbiyah works. You will never have children that are completely fine by any age. Your children will make the mistakes that we have made, and they're going to make their own set of mistakes. And that's how we learn in life. And the best thing we can do, like I said, is give them the taqwa that they need. Now, another thing I want to add on to this, that children, need a lot, is they need to grow up in the household knowing that your biggest value is Islam. Okay, a lot of parents get this wrong, because you're running your life in a way that there's certain values that you've got. Your kids have never said this to you, but your kids have read you. So let me give you an example. If, when it comes to tuition time, let's say, for example, I've fixed the tuition, I'm going to pay £25 an hour, right? And that hour is fixed, or 2 hours straight is fixed from let's say 4:30 to 6:30, okay? Tuition time 4:30 to 6:30 on a Monday. When 4:30 to 6:30 on a Monday comes, it's like, whoa, I've got in my head, in my diary, I've got reminders on my phone, I've got like everything ready. My kid better go to that tuition because I am paying money. You understand? So then what, because I want them to do the 11 plus exams, I want them to do the GCSEs, whatever it is, whatever's in your head. So you make it a religious thing that 4:30 to 6:30 never gets missed, right? Now, let's say, for example, there's something else to do with the exams, to do with the preparation. Those things I never compromise on. It's like 100%, you better get your results. I'm on the backs for, the history teacher, the science teacher, the whatever teacher, what set is my child, what level are they in, and I'm on their back for all of this. Nothing goes past me, right? If my kids have performed bad in the parents' evening, I find out, then I'm going to bring them together, and I'm going to make sure that my house is set in a way that my kids never have another bad parents' evening again. All right? So that's a value you put. That value is that my kids understand from me, mom and dad take tuition very seriously. Mom and dad take GCSEs very seriously. Right now, if you haven't given the same level of attention to Salah, if you haven't given the same level of attention to Jummah, or to their prayers, or to something that is equal or more than important in Islam, then you know what? They will say, mom and dad have given less value to, let's say, hijab, or less value to this other thing that we need in Islam. They made the assumption. They know where we are, okay? And the next thing is this. When I have a problem in life, what do I do? When I'm stressed out, what do I do? Do I chat all day to my friend? Am I on my phone, in the hours of the evening? Am I someone who's like snapping? You see, some people, when they're stressed, they snap at other people around them. Am I snapping unnecessarily at my kids, snapping at my husband, snapping at my wife, right? Because I'm stressed, right? Or am I keeping my akhlaq, my good character, and getting on the musalla and doing extra long du'as, and doing my sujoods, and doing my extra 2 rakats, and doing my, my connection with Allah is stronger? What are my children seeing at that moment? That's the question. Because if you're stressed out and you're snapping at others and you're not doing, you're not connecting with Allah, first is you've taught them to do the same thing, and second is they see the value of you when it comes to the connection with Allah is low. They've made that decision. Where do you get your satisfaction from? They know where you get. Do you get your satisfaction from the phone, from the smartphone, from a spa, from a bar, from a massage, from something else? Or do you actually get it from salah? Do you feel satisfied after you've been on the musalla? They will assess you on this. And based on that, they will know that, you know what, in life, this is what you do to get yourself de-stressed. Okay? They've made those assumptions. Now, let me go to the next thing. If in my household, when I argue with my wife, when my wife argues with me, how is it that you manage this? These are big things that are going to pass on to the next level, okay? If I've got an issue with my wife and the children are there, the best thing to do is to say, can me and you go into a room? Best thing to do is that. Can me and you go into a room? So go into a room separately. Let the kids not hear what you're going to say to each other. At that moment, it's like, you know, it's going to be all guns, right? You know, wife saying this, and if you think it's all guns and you're talking over each other, you did this, you did that, you did all that, right? If it's that, they say, look, let's do something, let's quit for now. We're going to talk in the morning, or we're going to talk after a day, we're going to talk after I calm down, after you calm down, we'll talk later. Let's quit now, let's leave the subject. That's the best thing you do. In fact, most of your conversations between you should happen when the kids are at school. Allah's given us this blessing. Kids by fard have to go to school. Alright? So you at that time should do a blessing to yourselves. Have all your important, whatever you want to do, even your wranglings, whatever you got, get it out while the children are at school. Because the children should not be seeing you fighting and quarreling. They should not, because it causes a lot of stress on them. You don't know the levels of stress children can go through when they know their parents have got problems and issues between them. Okay? So settle this thing that you're going to do away from the children. There should never be an abusive parent that just goes off on one. You know, whether it's in your language, whichever language it is, I say said like, you know, and it's going ripping across the whole hallway, all the way upstairs. Even the neighbors are probably hearing part of it. Alright? There should be no such thing that you didn't, because the kids are going to be affected by that. Next time they have a problem, they will shout at each other like this. Guaranteed. Next time when they grow up and they have problems, they're going to do worse or at least the same as what you're doing. Okay? Now in the house, while you've got your children there, in the evenings, you have to take time out. Evenings and weekends. You have to spend time with them. And one of the things that you want the children to get into is, you want the children to find their own entertainment without always having to touch those pads and those phones or whatever it is. Okay? They should find their own way of entertaining. So for example, reading books. Reading books is a wonderful way of getting them to be, you know, to understand, you know, language and so on and so forth. But also Islamic books. There are hundreds and hundreds of books out there. Now you may not know which book to give your child. If you're in doubt, buy the book or find it online and show it to the Safar teachers here. Show it to the Safar teachers, say, I want to give my child this book, I want to buy this book or whatever. Could you please recommend what book I should have for my child? Because they're reading all the English books. They're going to read loads of novels and they're going to read loads of, you know, non-fiction sort of books and fictitious books as well. But you want to have a part of the reading. Now, that's just them reading Islamically. In your house, every day there should be tilawah. There should be some recitation of the Quran. Especially all the parents whose children have gone on to the Quran, there should be two places that the children read from. One is the child reads the sabaq or the part to the teacher. That's the qira'ah, that's the recitation they're going to do to the teacher. But the other part should be tilawah, which is a continuous thing every day. Make it a half an hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 pages, whatever you want to say, 4 pages. Every day they need to do tilawah in the house. The more tilawah you've got in the house, the more barakah you're going to have. Now that means parents also have to do their tilawah. They have to see you with the Quran in your hand, a physical Quran, not one on your mobile phone. Okay? It doesn't have the same impression. I'm telling you, kids will notice this. If you're on your phone and you're reading the Quran off there, they might think you're just browsing on the internet. Right? If you have a literal Quran and you open it and you read it, it has an impact on them. They think, oh, dad is reading the Quran, mom is reading the Quran. You know the effects on them? It's like, oh, that's something I want to do, because kids, Allah has made them to copy you. All kids, Allah has made the fitrah to copy what they see, what they hear. If you got that in your life, then they will have it in their life. I mean, in your household, there should never ever be things that you wouldn't Islamically do. It shouldn't happen. So for example, your toilet seat. You should never ever find urine on your toilet seat. Never. Because all your kids should be sitting down and using the toilet. Even for a quick call, even in an emergency. Right? They should go in there and take it off and sit down, alright, or whatever, but they should not leave any urine on that seat. In your house, if you want to have, look, there's a system that you have to make. And there's simple things you can do, right? Let's say, for example, your child, your child is old enough to get their own bowl for breakfast, take the cereal box out, get the milk from the fridge, put it all together, get the spoon as well, eat it all, okay, and then drink the milk, say the dua, whatever, take that little bowl in the sink or in the dishwasher, that whole process without you having to even touch anything, you can get that done at the age of 5. At the age of 5, 6 max, the whole process can be done. Right? In your household, their room. Yes, you're going to hoover and you're going to vacuum clean whenever you vacuum clean, but they should have a system that when they come in, they keep their room tidy. They put their clothes in a certain place. They don't just take them off and straight out the floor. Right? They don't just put it here, put it there, make the room look untidy. No, they have a system. If you keep it up, if you're on their back, you say, look, the simple way of doing is this. You cannot eat or you cannot do the next thing unless you got the last thing done. The last thing is that you've come from school. I want you to take your clothes off, hang them up or put them away, and then come downstairs. Okay? And if I see your room untidy, there's going to be consequence. That's a very easy way to get this kids disciplined. Right? Remember I told you Monday to Friday, are they going to play any? Are they going to play anything on the technology? Yes or no? No. If you can get that in first. Next thing is from the weekend, you've got a limited time. So what you do is, if they're really naughty, if they don't listen to you, you say you will take a little bit of time off. That hurts a lot, brother, sister. That hurts more than a slap. They'd rather take a slap than for you to take 15 minutes off. If they've only got 3 hours in the whole day, you take 15 minutes off, it hurts. Hurts. If they're naughty again, they don't listen to you, take another 15 minutes off. Half an hour. Oh my God. It seriously hurts. You try it. That's what we do at home. Simple thing is, if I've told you, you're not listening to me, I'll just say, okay, 15 minutes. Once I've said it, it never goes back. Aha. Don't try this thing of said it, or can I take the time back on it? Look. Once you've said it, you've said it. Okay, if you want to set, whatever rule you set, stick to your rules. Even if you're going to say, okay, fine, if you're good again within another 3 days, I'll take the time back again. It's up to you. You can do that, but stick to your rules. Don't give a threat that you're not going to implement. That's one of the things that kids need, is that when they're told there's something, they need to actually feel that it's going to happen. It's not like, oh, dad said it, but I'm going to go to mom and get something else. No. I mean, a simple thing is, with like the chocolates, the sweets, the little snack place that you have in your house, yeah? No one should ever take anything from there without your permission. Because the levels of sugar that go in them, yeah, are going to make them go crazy. It's the sugar, it's the processed foods. It's the things that went in their mouths, give them certain reactions, and they will react in a certain way. I mean, I'll be honest with you, parents do complain to me and they say to me, Bengali sometimes say even shoitani, right? It's like, if you translate, it's like devilish. Now, nobody does no devilish thing. What it is you've got to look at you've got to look at child, you've got to look at your environment, look at your rules, and how you've done these things. And depending on that, your child will either be disciplined or not disciplined. It's you first, okay? So if you're giving them loads of chocolates, if they can have whenever they want that, they don't eat food properly, and then they go into the snack place and having snacks, then guaranteed they're going to be jumping off the walls. They're going to be jumping off the walls, okay? If they're hungry, if they're tired, these are times when they will start to cause problems. You give them the food on time, you give them nutritious food, you tell them that, okay, you can have a snack, but at this time, It's got to be this way. And don't go over the top. If you give them a biscuit today, you don't give them a biscuit tomorrow. Don't give them chocolate tomorrow. Say, no, you can't have it tomorrow. That's where you learn sabr. It's there, and I can't have it. That's sabr, my friend. Right? That's where you teach them these rules. If they want to do something and they can't do it, well, you teach them sabr. Now, modern psychology has said this. This is from modern psychology. If out of 10 times when your child asks you for something extra, these are not their necessities. We're not talking about the necessities that a child needs. We're not talking about the foods, the clothing that they need. No. We're talking about the extras. So extra food, extra clothing, designer clothing, and all these other things that they want. Out of 10 times a child asks you, if 8 times you say no to them, 2 times you say yes to them, then your children will grow up happy, and they will have long-term happiness, and they will appreciate life, and they will appreciate what they have. But if out of 10 times, 8 times you say yes, 2 times you say no, your children will grow up and they will be unhappy with you, unhappy with life, unhappy with the things that they have. This is from real tests that have been done on children. You know why? Because when you're told, you want this, can I have this, can I buy this? They're with you in the supermarket, can I have this, can I have that? Or you go to Argos or something, I want to get this, I want to get this, I want to get that, I want to get that, I want this toy, I want this toy. And they want it, and you say, okay, have it. What you just did there is, you put the level of, having all these gifts and things, whatever, it's natural. And what happens is, there comes a day when you can't carry on giving that. There comes a day, even when they're 14 or 16 or 8, there comes a day when you say, look, I can't carry on giving everything you want. That's the day they will start to, you'll see a different side to them. And when those children get married, there's going to be a serious problem they're going to have with their spouse. Because they're used to getting 8 out of 10 times, they're used to getting what they want. So if they don't get what they want, there's going to be serious issues. But if you train them with the extra things in life, 2 out of 10 times you say yes. 8 out of 10 times you say no. So they kind of think, well, dad and mom will give it, but sometimes. That's the perception. Sometimes they'll give it. Most times they won't, but, that's life. Then when they grow up, and they get, imagine they get a little bit extra. Let's say they got their own money, or they got a spouse or someone who's treating them better than what they were expecting. Then they'll have a very happy life. They'll even appreciate you a lot. Giving children too much damages them. Giving children too less damages them. When I say less, I mean of the necessities and things that they actually need. Now, the children, as they're going from stage to stage, we need to be on top of them throughout the whole thing. I'm going to ask all you parents, none of you parents should have given a mobile phone, a smartphone to your child unless your child is like 16, 18 or something. If you've given your child, I'm sure some of you have given your child a smartphone, it's damage. It's damage. Because you've given a world in their hands that they don't know how to control. They don't know it's dangerous even for parents to control themselves when it comes to smartphones, let alone children who don't know what life is yet. If you've given your child a smartphone, you've given them a tablet, or you've given them a computer, a laptop, whatever it is, okay, you need to share the passcode. There should never be a child in your house, even today. Go back, get the passcode. You should share the passcode. Why? Because you want to protect their iman. Okay? You want to protect their iman. It's not for any other reason. These children don't know what life is yet. They don't even know how to take cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is when they get bullied on social media. They don't even know what politics is yet. They don't even know how to deal with this end of life, and you've given them a smartphone to them, it's damage. Okay? If they've got that, you will share the passcode, and I personally don't think that any child till the age of 16, 18 even needs a smartphone. And if you made it your thing in your house, look son, look daughter, you're not going to get it. And you explain to them nicely. Now, when you give them, an order or whatever, try and give some explanation why. Like in my house, I had to do the same thing. My child is 13 years old. He's been asking for a smartphone. He hasn't got it yet. All his friends in school have a smartphone. So I was explaining, his mother has explained to him that, look, once you get a smartphone, you'll want to be on social media. You'll want to chat to your friends. Once you chat to your friends and you're on there, then your studies are going to be affected. And once your studies are affected, then it's going to affect your future life. We want you to have a very good life, and for that we've limited you with certain things, but give them alternatives. Always with children, give them alternatives. So in the house, they should have all their, if they're in arts and craft, give them arts and craft, give them drawings, give them these dots to dots. You can buy these dots to dots now that go to 1,000 numbers, right? You can give them colorings, you can give them things that models they can make. You can get them into design, technology, whatever it is, bring those kits home, give it to them. You can put, certain tables within your house, table tennis, whatever it is, get them in these things Monday to Friday, let them be busy with that. If nothing else, you got books. If nothing else, read your books, and that's your entertainment. If they get into the books, and if, sometimes I tell you, girls are probably a little bit better with all of this than boys. Boys want to, boys sometimes get a bit boisterous, and it's a good thing. They've got the boisterous. Let them even, let them be together and find their own way of entertaining themselves in a house where there's technology but they can't use it. Because most of you will know, when we were young, we never even had any of this stuff. There was no Wi-Fi, there was no internet, right? There's none of this stuff, right? You probably just about had a Atari or something, or you had a very sort of those cassettes you had to put in and then wait for it to load, and by the time it's loaded, something's gone wrong, then you have to load it again, and you might get like a 1 minute play in between or something like that. Those were the days when they were getting. These days, the man that's going in, I think la ilaha illallah, they've got too much at the fingertips, and they still complain when it's taking 10 seconds to download. I'm thinking, man, we had to wait for 5 minutes for this thing to download, right? But this is the world they're living in. We're going to have to accept it. But I want you to understand that they've got to have their alternatives in the house. And both mom and dad, whatever rules you place, you have to both be equal in implementing those rules. If dad's a little bit softer or mom's a little bit softer, then they start playing games. They'll go to you, you say no, then they'll go to mom and they'll get a yes. Right? That shouldn't happen. You've both got to, whatever rules you set, it's got to be set in your house, and that's what we go through, and that's it. Both of us said, when one said no, the other one has said no. When one said yes, the other one has said yes. Okay? These are the basic elements of tarbiyah in your house that you should have, and most of it, if you notice, I'm putting it on your shoulders. And I'm going to ask you one thing to do. See, you've got, and I'm not just saying this because we've got Safar Academy, and wallahi, I'm not just saying this because of this, right? Your children have got books, and those books they bring home, you don't know all the Islamic stuff in there. Most of you don't know this. You should read those books. Learn your Islam. If you want to get the whole set, go to our website. You can order the whole set instead of waiting year after year what book's going to come. Just get the whole set. Learn your Islam. All you have to do is very simple. Put the book one by one on your bedside, right? And read only one chapter before you go to sleep. It's only going to take you 5 minutes. One chapter before you go to sleep. Every day, if you spend 5 minutes before you go to sleep and you put yourself with Islamic knowledge and things that you should be aware of, most of the stuff that I've said to you, akhlaq-wise, tarbiyah-wise, things you should know, the taqwa, the sabr, and so on. See, those things are already in the books. All you have to do is read it, reference it, have a pen, draw a line, and then what you say to them is, look, you're supposed to do this, and I know what happens. Sometimes your children say, no, I don't have to do this. Islamically, I don't have to do this. They know you don't know any better, right? All you have to then say, look, in your book, Safar Academy book, look, I've marked it down. That's something you're supposed to do, and I want you to do it. If you've got that knowledge, then you can tell them what to do, what not to do. Aqidah-wise, belief-wise, what they're supposed to believe. For you, it's going to be massive nourishment. We've got many adults that have used the books to learn Islam. Many adults. These are not just children's books. They've been written in a way they are very easy to digest. And for you, I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, get your own knowledge up to speed. Not only with these books, maybe you join courses, whatever you might do, but by the least, just read the Islamic studies books that we've got. And once you've done that, you will know what to say to your children. Have a word with your spouse when you go home. Talk about the stuff that I've said. Talk about how you're going to implement it. No, don't go today and say, oh my God, I've been doing things wrong. I'm going to change everything. Like, it's going to be like a new parliament tomorrow in my house, right? I'm not asking you to do that. If you do that, you're going to have a lot of problems, okay? If you've been very lenient, you're going to come slowly back to the balance. If you've been too strict, you've got to slowly come back to the balance. Balance is what I'm talking about, okay? Not too lenient, not too strict with them. And if you can find the balance with both spouses, inshallah, bidnillah, you will make wonderful progress with the tarbiyah of your children, inshallah, bidnillah. Anyone got any question or something that I might have said something which you really need to clarify right now that might not be, yes?
You know, these talks, can they be from your side, can they be brought to the kids?
Yeah, it's a good point, Mama Amjad. Stuff that we're talking about, we need to also give a kids version on that side.
We were actually initially planning to have joint parents and children together. So we'll arrange one where the children.
I will try and fix April the 29th. Okay, Sunday, April the 29th. It's about 2 weeks before Ramadan. So I'm going to try and do a joint session with the children, with yourselves, and with other people outside as well. We're going to try and plan that, inshallah. Hopefully it takes place. And then in that one, inshallah, we will have the kids in front of us well. But today, what I've said to you, your parents, you're not kids, okay? You're not their kids. They're not your parents. You go home and you tell them, this is how it's supposed to be, and slowly we're going to bring it in line. Your parents, you stay in control. You bring it in place. See, one problem I find with a lot of parents is, when they come to me and they say, we got this problem, Shaykh, we got that problem. A lot of the times, I look at the parents and say, look, why did you give so much? There's a grandfather in Enfield who's complaining. He said, I'm frustrated. His thing was, he said, I brought my kids up and I gave him his own house. For his marriage, I got him a house, I gave him his education, I gave him all this, and I gave him, his wife is beautiful, his wife is the perfect match he wants, and his kids are not born. I'm still getting a headache from him. He still doesn't want to listen to me. He's still giving me trouble. He still, talks to me in a rude way. When I gave him everything in life, and I said to him, bro, your problem is you gave everything in life. That is your problem. You want to give everything in life, give it in piecemeal. Give it in a way when they're fixed up, then give them. You don't have to give your children everything at the beginning of marriage. You don't have to do that. You can leave something. Let them work. Let them get a job. Let them learn what life is. Let them go through the tough times in life. And then, of course, you put a saving somewhere they don't know of. Okay, you built it up where there's thousands of pounds there. If you die, it's theirs. And if you're still alive, one day you can hand it over to them. That's the kind of thing you want to do. They shouldn't get everything on the plate, because if you make it that easy for them, then they're gonna lead a life that they don't need to be bothered. Okay, and they'll give you trouble with it as well. So don't give them too much. And the other opposite is there, that you got money, you got everything, you don't give them anything. You don't even treat them, you don't even take them out, you don't do anything. You send all your money back home. To a place where they're never going to live, nor are you ever going to live. Right? I hope, inshallah, this generation is not making this mistake. The last generation made that mistake. And all the money got invested over there, and now our cousins are making use of all of that, and we're here, we're not making any use of this, okay? So don't go to any extreme. Just try and stay balanced, okay? Like I said to you, of the extra that they need, out of 10, 8 times you say no, 2 times you say yes. Get the balance right and get all the tarbiyah done, inshallah. We'll speak more, inshallah, in the next session. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So just before everyone goes, inshallah, this is the first of many sessions to come, hopefully, inshallah. So we'll try and speak with Shaykh Hasan and we'll try and arrange more regular sessions. And as Mara mentioned, that we might have a session with both parents and children, so open for families. So we have a more like a workshop system in place for that as well, inshallah. Just as we're leaving, can I just request the brothers to leave first, and don't collect your students from within the masjid. So go outside of the masjid first, wait where we usually wait outside, and then collect the students, inshallah. And then the sisters can follow. So the brothers can vacate quickly, just